Welcome back. What a day. What a day. Hillary Clinton just announced her next Manic scheme on MSNBC. Check it out.
I think there's a lot of those conversations going on. You know, I'm at the Clinton Global Initiative, and what we're doing there is focusing on the big gaps that are being left in humanitarian aid, in support for climate resilience, and trying to keep ladders going for economic opportunity, the kinds of things that, you know, my husband and I have spent much of our life doing. And there we're talking to leaders who have come to CGI about, okay, the United States is no longer our partner. USAID has been, you know, totally destroyed. How do we fill the gaps?
So USAID, probably the most corrupt organization for the last 30 years, was working with the Clinton Foundation, which probably was one of the most corrupt organizations over the last 20 years at least. That Clinton Foundation, Bill Clinton was getting $500,000 to $1 million to make speeches. That Clinton Foundation was taking money from foreign governments and then dispersing it around in the United States the way they wanted to. At one point, they had $400 or $500 million in their coffers for Hillary and Bill to spend the hell the way they want. It's insane the amount of grift that group was involved with. And for her to say USAID, they miss it. Yeah, we know why you missed it, Hillary. Hill shady. More from Hillary Clinton, who authored a very weird moment on Morning Joe when discussing the FCC and Jimmy Kimmel. Listen.
I mean, good Lord, the things that have been said about me, the lies that have been propagated. If I had only known, I could call up the FCC chair and say, take this person off the air. Get that person out of my sight, off with his head. Yeah. I'm just looking at Joe.
What?
Yeah,
what? I've done nothing but be kind to you.
Well, once you saw the light, I mean,
except that's not what happened. The FCC didn't take Jimmy Kimmel off the air. The company did. CBS did. Bob Iger took him off the air. They took him off because they got backlash from the people who were offended and disgusted by what Jimmy Kimmel said about Charlie Kirk. They were bombarded with viewers saying, get that SOB off the air. And so they did. It wasn't the FCC. The FCC said they would look into things. They didn't pull Jimmy Kimmel. Otherwise, he'd still be off the air. Trust me. CBS tried. Definitely said, let's bring him back. Let's bring him back after 3 days on hiatus. Wow. With the FCC who pulled him, he'd still be benched. Speaking of the Clintons, Slick Willie, her husband, was drooling all over Gavin Newsom during a recent appearance. Listen to this.
But what really matters is he's a really good person.
I appreciate it.
And an extraordinarily gifted public service.
Thanks.
And he represents, along with his family. Jennifer, where are you? Stand up.
There, ma'am. The better half. My wife.
Thank you.
Why? Gavin Newsom is, according to Slick Willie Clinton, a good person, an extremely gifted public servant. Good person. I'm not sure a good person goes to the French Laundry to spend $400 a plate for dinner while your whole state is shut down because you shut down the economy in the whole state. Or send your kids to private schools when you shut down the public schools in the state of California. Gifted public servant. The mayor of San Francisco, Gavin Newsom, promised to end homelessness 20 years ago. End it. He goes from mayor of a major California city to the governor of the state, and things have only gotten worse. The homeless population, the homeless situation in California is absolutely out of control. I don't know who he's gifted to. Maybe he's gifted to the left and the lunatics coming across our border and the criminals that want to go hang out in the fruits and nuts of California. Maybe them. That's who he's gifted to, but certainly not the general citizenry. Looks like Kamala Harris, her book tour, off to a rocking start, maybe a rocky start. She's already getting interrupted after virtually every word, and her fancy presentation was broken out by protesters on multiple occasions, but check it out.
About how and why you are saying what you are saying now and how I felt about it. You're not letting me talk. You know what? I respect your right to speak, but you're not letting me let's bring the temperature down. Let's bring the the temperature down, unlike the current president of the United States.
Let's bring the temperature down. Now they want to bring the temperature down. Well, speaking of booze, take a listen to the beautiful reception Kathy Hochul, governor of New York, got at the Ryder Cup.
Your friend and mine in attendance, Governor Kathy Hochul. Governor, thank you so much for being here. And thank you to your team, too, for getting us ready for the Ryder Cup in New York.
So listen, golf, like it or not, golf is kind of like a MAGA-type sport. Golfers love Donald Trump. Trump loves golf. What was she thinking? Governor of New York, very, very disliked by the MAGA crowd for everything she's done in the state of New York, and deservingly so. Did she really think she would get a good reception going to the Ryder Cup? Doesn't make a lot of sense. Read your crowd, read your constituents. That's when I don't know, maybe some other basket weaving or pottery competition. Maybe she'd be welcome there, but not PGA. No. Joy Reid couldn't have been more racist if she tried during her latest appearance. She does this. Remember we talked about Don Lemon and Joy Reid yesterday and her latest miserable racism? Well, she had plenty to say about J.D. Vance getting into Yale. Take a listen to this.
As smart as I know my ass is, Ketanji Brown is smarter. Smartest person I've ever met in my life. When you smart, I'm smart. That lady is smart on a level I've never seen before. And her 3 roommates were even smarter. These girls were so smart that we were shocked that we'd ever met anybody that intelligent. And Amy Coney Barrett, on the other hand, is a Supreme Court justice just like Ketanji, even though her qualifications are minuscule compared to Ketanji's. Maybe that's the affirmative action we've been getting. White people who are essentially mediocre in scale compared to a black person getting the spot because they wanted a conservative. Maybe the way that J.D. Vance got into Yale is because they were tired of just letting in white men from New York, from Choate, from all the elite schools, and they wanted an Appalachian white. That's how that man got into Yale, I promise you. Same thing with Ron DeSantis.
So a couple of years ago, the Supreme Court struck down affirmative action. Affirmative action is what the universities and colleges in America were hiding behind when they put aside test scores and decided to bring in the people of color, minorities, for whatever reason. That's what they wanted to do. And so if you were a white person with a higher test score or a minority with a lower one, you were more likely to get in. It's just the way it was. And they always pointed to affirmative action, affirmative action. Supreme Court struck it down. It's wide open right now. But affirmative action was in place when Joy Reid, you were accepted into Harvard. Harvard, really? Joy Reid? And J.D. Vance was accepted into Yale. So I don't think there was any shortcuts trying to get a white guy into Yale. Sorry, Joy. Try again. The airheads over on MSNBC are talking about Jimmy Kimmel like he's some sort of prophet. They've made us return to ABC seem like a reincarnation, a once-in-a-lifetime spectacle, some sort of otherworldly, holy event. I can't understand these idiots sometimes. Just take a listen and see if you can understand this.
Biger wanted to be on the right side of history. Do you want to be the one who caved to the White House and took an institution off the air? Late night television has been with us for a long time. And you could see last night, it can really galvanize the country. It was a very old fashioned moment. We all sat down and wanted to, at the same time, and wanted to hear what he had to say. And it's become, there's been a national conversation about it for days. You don't want to lose that. And that's what's under attack. And I think Jimmy defended it. I think he set the proper tone in trying to comfort people who were perhaps disturbed that you were talking about this in a comedy monologue when people were still raw about it. And he stayed on brand.
So I'm completely a free speech person, but you can't do what Kimmel did. By the way, if he were making money, they never would have bounced him. If that show was doing well in ratings, they never would have done. I read somewhere where they were getting 124,000 people watching that show in the demo. Gutfeld does like double that over at Fox. We'll be back 2.5 minutes.